All right, these first 2 minutes are for you, Amaya. Here's Amaya Miller as a YouTuber reactor. Oh my God, this thing that's happening today, I'm reacting to this YouTuber's video. Oh my God, it's like she's doing a Tyrone Magnus impression. Okay, enough of that. Let me say this, and I will refrain out of love and respect from using proper nouns. There's going to be a lot of people to tell you how to think, who to vote for or not who to vote for. Listen to every kind of person. There are going to be people on one side of the political spectrum. There are going to be other people on the other side of the political spectrum. Left, right, red, blue, yellow, green, up, down, topsy turvy, the little parties, the big parties. Um, don't be gaslit by fucking anybody. I mean, you saw that one guy from that one science fiction movie or space opera movie from 40 years ago. I mean, we'll just say that he was the hero of 3 movies of a trilogy 40 years ago. And he's far off on his own delusional path. But there are people who are trying to keep an open mind. Keep an open mind that not everything is what it seems. The stuff that's coming out now, I've known for the last 4 years. I had to be like a hawk and watch everything, capital E, capital V, everything, everything, because you have to now. You can't take it for granted. There's just a lot of people. I used to hero worship. I used to hero worship certain people on their own podcasts or experiences or whatever. Radio talk show hosts, professors, right? Now I just listen to my own voice and I'll listen to other people, whether it's on video game streaming platforms for 4 hours or just like little podcasts on the internet. So, anyway, that's it. That's all I got to say. Um, Much love and respect to you, whoever you vote for. Just listen to all the talking heads. And now let's move on. Yep, that's right, Amaya. You want to turn your head away for this one. What an event this was. So we're going to do a little segment here. I don't know how long this will be, but I'm going to cover for you the strange political years of my life. Music by Raxlen Slice. I'll try to put that in the description. Um, but here we're looking at George H.W. Bush. Now, I was too little to remember much about Walter Mondale versus Ronald Reagan or Carter or when George H.W. Bush was the vice president to Reagan. I remember the Reagan jokes and yeah, it's Ronald Reagan, it's Ronald Reagan. Like everybody would, all the old timers from the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson would do Ronald Reagan impressions. Okay, Rich Little did one, and it's old Hollywood. They would all remember this stuff. But yeah, so we go through 1988. Okay, I was about 10 years old. No, this was like my 4th grade class. And, well, actually, the other kid was bigger than me. But whatever, who gives a shit? So it was between Dukakis and George Bush. And one of the things I do remember was Gary Hart. Gary Hart was caught with a woman on his lap that was not his wife. And that picture was made fun of in every sitcom I could imagine and late night talk shows. Gary Hart was going to be, I think he was supposed to be win the primary, but he was done. Mr. Gary Hart, I think Gary Hart's dead, I think. Nobody looking at this video cares unless you somehow stumbled onto this video and you got to put your dentures back in, but it's okay. That's fine. Welcome to my video. So aside from Gary Hart, Bush versus Dukakis, Bush won. And I said, well, that was the best person. And this other kid, okay, we'll call him Brian. He got pissed at me. And this is my fourth grade class. He was all, well, we don't need this guy. We don't need Dukakis. I'm like, really? Like, you think Dukakis was better? Dukakis was not better. I mean, Bush had the better game. Now, obviously, nobody could foresee the storm in the desert that was about to happen. But okay, it was 1988. At that time, everything seemed right. Nothing seemed out of place. No more taxes, as his lips would say. would read. But it was like just what we were 10 years old. You think we had all the fucking? We had nothing. We had no fucking answers. Guess what? You probably still don't have any answers, right? But we knew that we picked. I don't know what the other guy would have done. Would he have? Would he have fucked up the economy so bad that a little war in the desert in the Gulf, Desert Storm, would that have been so bad? Probably not. But we were having problems already. So yeah, it was all a shit show for those 4 years from 1988 to 1992. But what can one do? That's so I got into a fight. In short, I got into a fight with another fourth grader about who should be the president or not. It was stupid. It's like we had to wait 8 more years to fucking vote. Like what was our opinion going to fucking matter? But at that time, Bush was right and Dukakis was wrong. That's the way it was. So we've moved forward to 92. This had to have been one of the strangest ones because you had three candidates. And technically, you had three candidates to the end. I think Perot had problems with his advisors. He fired people. There was some personal vendettas going on that he accused Bush of. And uh, he just didn't put any effort into the last few months of after the popular vote. But technically he was there. I mean, he was the independent. So you have Ross Perot, the independent. You have Clinton on Democrats, and you have Bush on the Republican side. Three people, instead of just two people. That was a weird anomaly. And Mr. Ross Perot, we got NAFTA, we got Ross Perot. It's like Dana Carvey does a lot of these political impressions. And Dana Carvey, you might want to look him up. Dana Carvey, Turtle Club, Turtle, right? So he would do all these political characters and shit. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what I paid attention to the most. I paid attention to the political jokes on Saturday Night Live or late night talk shows, Jay Leno or David Letterman or Conan O'Brien. Actually, Conan O'Brien came later in 93. So this is all we had to go on. I think by the time the popular vote had ended, Johnny Carson had left and Jay Leno took over. So a lot of things to keep track of, a lot of things. I was going to start high school. That was a big old shit show. A lot of things are a big old shit show. But yeah, three people. And obviously Ross, he was qualified for the 50 states. He did not win anything in the electoral votes. So that was a strange one. But that was that one. And we get to this. This does not need too much explanation, but you had Linda Tripp talking to Monica Lewinsky and then everything. And then you had, was it Kenneth Starr was off to the races, and the whole perjury for the impeachment, then perjury leading to the impeachment trials. And it was silly as shit. But at the time, I kind of listened to my parents, like, how dare this man commit adultery? It's like, well, it technically wasn't the affairs of the people who were voting for him. But it did not make the man look good. I mean, it's not something you need to be doing. I mean, if you had the affair with Monica on the last year of your second term, okay, by the time anybody gets angry, it's like, hey, guy's got to go. It's got to go. So, like, Trump did anything stupid. It's like, if Donald Trump's going to do anything really ridiculous, you might as well just do it on your last year of your presidential term. By the time anybody gets pissed at you, it's like, hey, done. Don't need to do anymore. Sorry. I'm back to my boardrooms, back to my Trump towers, whatever is left of it. But, yeah, I mean, this did not, I mean, Monica had suffered what is ostracization, condemnation for the rest of her life. I mean, I think Michael Richards had probably seen better days, probably is seeing better days. A lot of the black community forgives him. But yeah, I think that we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, I think this is just, it's silly shit. And also too, the other thing that kind of bothered me wasn't so much this, but I think this was kind of more disturbing, but this was hard. Got Janet Reno there. What is she? It was a Janet Reno time on SNL. Oh my God. Let me see what this says. Let me see if I have my glass. And everybody, I mean, Elian's in his 30s. We have a more adult picture of him, but I just want to be in the moment here. Bill Clinton says in 2018 tweet, on this Father's Day, I'm thinking of the thousands of children separated from their parents at the border. These children should not be a negotiating tool, and returning them to their families would reaffirm America's belief and support for all parents who love their children. Sure, bro. Oh, shit. Yeah, this. So, uh, current day, Elian Gonzalez is a politician and an engineer. Is he doing good? Cuban Americans, Joey Diaz. If you're Joey Diaz doesn't give a shit. Joey Diaz isn't going to be on my channel. Cuban Americans, if you're Cuban or know somebody who's Cuban, give me a good answer here. Do you think he's doing a good job? Do you think he's kind of pissing on Fidel's grave a little bit and just kind of working with Americans? Is he help? Is Elian Gonzalez helping us get those cigars on time for Christmas? I just want to know the answer to that. But anyway, this was a horrific event. So I mean, the Monica Lewinsky stuff doesn't bother me as much as this stuff does. This was just, uh, I don't know. I just don't. I just don't. Like it was just not. Well, so what happened was, for most people who don't know, is that for some strange reason the mother died in a boat accident, a drowning accident. So the mother was the only person in legal custody, and the father wanted him back to Cuba. The relatives desperately tried to hold on to him, and in this tug of war, Bill Clinton said, nope, he's got to go back with his family. So Janet Reno arranged it all. Said, okay, we're gonna get him. Ah, that was an ugly time. I mean, I don't know what he could have been. Elian Gonzalez could have been a YouTuber. He could have been in sport. He could have been an engineer for here. He could have been a politician for the United States, but he's a politician for Cuba. So, what a time it is when adults decide your fate for you, and you're just stuck. When you reach for your dreams and you get what you want, that's one thing. But some kids aren't so lucky. So I don't know. Do you think he's living the best life? Do you think it benefits us? I don't know. But this was a really, really, really ugly time in history. Okay, moving forward. Okay, now nobody, unless you're in Los Angeles and you're close to my age, you probably would not know who this is. This is Sheriff Sherman Block, who was our sheriff for many decades, up until 1996, I think. And we had an election. We had president. I think we had sheriff's elections for the county of Los Angeles. Now that's Sherman Block, and his running partner, who we had for sheriff for many years, Mr. Lee Baca. So, and remember, Baca is Japanese for fool. So anyway, just there's your Japanese for today. Baca means fool. Baca. Okay, good, very good. So, what had happened? Well, I'll tell you, like, there was, Sherman Block had very good arguments for staying on as sheriff. Lee Baca just looked like a sleazy kind of villain, like the mustache twirling villain, right? Like if you go back to Mega Man and you had Dr. Wily. Dr. Wily was the evil counterpart to Dr. Light. So that's kind of like the association I had in my 18-year-old head. I'm like, oh, this one's the good guy, one's the bad guy, right? That was pretty obvious. Well, Sherman Block had a good, strong campaign, and people loved him. I think somebody said that the jails were a bit complicated when he was in charge, but I had problems under Lee Baca's administration, as I've all told you about my racial profiling about 10 years ago or more, 11 years ago, almost 11. Anyway, Sherman Block, what happened was he went to take a bath. He slipped and fell in a bathtub, cracked his head. I think the injuries were severe, and the man died. Now, it wasn't funny that he died. It was funny when he died. He died 2 weeks before the elections, before the votes were counted and the results were in. So you had like, I mean, imagine if it was just like, I don't know. Let's see if I can find a picture for you. Okay, let's pretend. Okay, let's make believe. Okay, this is what happened. Okay. Here, these are people from the foundation. Okay, We're very sorry that Lee Baca has passed away, or not Lee Baca, Sherman Block. We here represent his campaign, and please vote in his name. And we are here to say, give him hell, Sherman Block. We are here for you in spirit. And it's like, what the fuck? The man died. I guess we have to vote for the other guy, and that was one of the strangest things ever, 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 ever. And despite people not liking Bill Clinton for Monica, Bill Clinton won again for 96 to 2000. And we move forward. And the election of 2000. Need I explain more? I might. Tim Russert. This is the thing. Tim Russert, I think when he passed away, I think Tim Russert passed away last decade, right? Somewhere in the early 2010s, I think. And he had been around for a long time, but he had that little whiteboard that would show you what was going to happen based on statistics and the polls, and forever the jokes about the hanging chads on the paper ballots, and so much was going on. Yet Bush won, no Gore won, no Bush won, no Gore won, Bush won, no Bush won. Well, okay, now we have to do a recount in Florida. Yeah, this was so strange. This was, I mean, that penisy shaped state was the deciding thing that we had to go. And it was like, you had two male judges and a female judge. I remember the guy, one of the aides, not even an aide. He was like one of the lower tier people for the Florida Supreme Court. He worked for the Florida Supreme Court, but he was not one of the justices, right? So he's like, we are not deciding yet. She is good. And then he's like, oh, shoot. And then everybody's laughing. It's like, oh, look, so now we know it's this judge of the three judges who are deciding the election, right? So you had Al Gore, you had George W. Bush, the son, not the father. Yeah, I mean, things went one way or the other. I mean, now we all shit on Al Gore for not saving the environment, but seems like a nice guy. But again, I mean, overtime, overtime. Yeah, we had to wait. I'm not sure how long it took, but I think it took maybe it was a Christmas miracle. I think we got it all done before January, but it took weeks. It took weeks. It's like I was coming home on my scooter, and one of my bags got caught in the wheel, and it took me 5 minutes to get I was already like triggered. I was ready to like start yelling like a drug addict who's like had too much cocaine and yelling at people. That's what this felt like. I mean, I had that today. I couldn't even get the stupid string out of my damn wheel. I was so triggered. I was ready to kill somebody because I had brought bags and bags and bags of groceries. I was like, can I go home, please? I was like 3 blocks from fucking my cock up the ass of the door to get in back in the house. I just wanted to go back in the house, please. I don't want to be out here playing a puzzle game where people can watch me and take pictures and shit. I want to go home. Can I go home? That's what this felt like. So it was like we waited so long for these results. And you had all these numbers coming in, and nobody was sure about a damn thing. Bush wins, no Gore wins, no Bush wins. No, Bush won. I still remember the late night with Conan O'Brien joke where somebody done a Bush Al Gore impression. This is not right. Surely the time is right for Al Gore to cross the street and the car hits Al Gore and shit. It was a dumb bit. Let the people pick. It's the president, not the court. Well, court's got to pick now. It's too late. Too late now. But yeah, I remember all this stuff. This is ingrained into my brain. Ingrained into my brain. Just all over the place. And then we can kind of skip over the was it John Kerry's flip-flopping, and then we can go to 2008. Areas before, areas after, before and after, and yeah, Barack Obama. So all the racist jokes, Curious George t-shirts, the fried chicken and watermelon dollar bills. Some woman, some white woman senator put a picture of him with chimpanzees. Like, yeah, you're fired, bitch. So all the racist stuff. This is a man who was half black and half white, and the joke running that he only favored the black people in his seat in his court. all the stuff, all the political jokes and not political jokes. Remember the pastor that remember the reverend who was like kind of had those panther inhibitions, and then he dropped his pastor like a bad habit. All these weird things that happened. Anyway, so yeah, that's unfortunate. And yeah, so I mean, it was a breakthrough. I remember when was it Reggie Jackson? Was it Reggie Jackson? I'm trying to think. I think it was the one of Doctor Martin Luther King's lieutenants. Uh, he uh, he didn't like him at all, and then as soon as Barack Obama won the 2008 election, he was crying tears. I'm like, get the fuck out of here! You were talking shit about the man like weeks ago before the results were in. And that leads to 2009, which was the whole gay marriage thing that got gay marriage that was granted to us for California and then was taken away and then restored by the Supreme Court in 2009. Now, you know that I have love and respect for the gay community. Anybody who has been a longtime fan of my YouTube videos remembers my Borderlands 2 video from Game and Speak. Okay, I talked a little bit about Charles Nelson Riley, and a lot of the gay community made up that game. Okay, so but for me, I always prefer the females. That's just how I am. But everybody has a right to get married. You're not going to do not sit there and cite Bible and verse. It's not fair. It's not right. But Hollywood was asleep at the wheel. Hollywood was asleep at the wheel, and you saw those stupid ads, those stupid proposition ads, and people were gaslit into voting for the wrong thing. No, you idiots! You idiots! It had nothing to do with schools. They're tricking you. They're tricking your ass. So it's like that woman said on the bullhorn, "We've been cheated." Yeah, you got your ass cheated. And I spoke about another guy who was gay, but I liked the guy because he was intelligent. He was a very smart man. I think he's still a politician. I think his boss Antonio was an idiot, but we'll get to that in a minute. Uh, but he could not get down there in the rallies. He had a job to do, but yeah, I think he was upset as well. It's like it's not right to take away someone's civil rights. You could choose to get married, you could choose not to get married, but it shouldn't be decided by the state like that. Okay, so yeah, we restored it, and we had to, at least for California. I don't know about other states, but we restored it here, and that's a good thing, and I'm happy for that. But yeah, Hollywood didn't give a shit, and nobody gave a shit. So I like to point things out because I have a 46-year-old memory here, just trying to remember these things. And now let's go on to something a little bit different, but Los Angeles related. Remember this pendejo? Yeah, that's our representation, right? With the report. I was trying to find the one. I think it's this particular report. I know Luke Parker was dating Antonio, right? This was like a weather girl or some sort of anchor person, and she got suspended after the affair with the mayor. Now, the difference between this and Bill Clinton will be a little obvious in that um, Antonio used our skin color, my skin color, my neighbor's skin color, to say, vote for me. There hasn't been a mayor, a mojado mayor. There hasn't been a Mexican mayor in such a long, it's been over a century. And so vote for me and I'll help Los Angeles, right? When Los Angeles was La Reina de la Puerta, whatever. It was a long, like, name. So, yeah. I don't know if I could find that picture. No, I can't see. YouTube is hiding the algorithms on this shit. So it did happen 15 years ago or more. But yeah, it's basically where he's in the shopping mall and some guy with the phone's like, "Hey, dude, who's this? Is that you, Mr. Mayor? Who's that? Who's that?" Like, just some dumbass holding the phone. And then he pulls his hand away from the reporter and he goes, looks around like, "Oh, let me just look around over here." Like, I know you all remember that. I know you remember that. I know you remember that. So dumbass shit and then he went after a particular gang, and it's like one black girl got shot, but it's like this guy had very bad social cues. He had very bad social awareness. Uh, his whole thing was about trying to be about being Mexicano, and it's like, just do your damn job, and he didn't do his damn job. And I don't want to see this guy go any higher. Just have him working at McDonald's, okay? I know it sounds racist. If it was a white dude saying this, you all would have a problem. But look, I worked at McDonald's. I'm Mexican. I worked at McDonald's. I hated it. Make him work. Why don't you make him work at McDonald's for all the bullshit he's done? Put LA through how much in bad economy, okay? Like he was all focused on how many reporters he could bang. And I felt for his wife. I would have consoled his wife a long time ago, but and she definitely changed her name, so fuck this. Which brings us to, to the 2020 election between Biden and Trump. I'll leave you with this. This is an old post I made from 2020, November 9th. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. I'll post more tomorrow. Video this was from, but my final thoughts on the election and Biden. I want to talk to you about this comment that I saw. This is by Danny Bolin, put this up, and this is called The Great Election Pause, The Great Election Night Pause in Vote Counting by Michael Master, from November 4th at 7:12. Election night Tuesday. Election night Tuesday at about midnight in the East Coast, Trump led in all the battleground states by decent margins. The betting odds were more than 75% for Trump to win. Then, for some unexplainable reason, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Nevada all seemingly stopped counting votes simultaneously in unison. They took a pause at around 1 a.m. None of those states reported any additional votes for the next 3 hours. So what did they do for those 3 hours? Let me point out a couple of things. One, all of those 5 states have Democratic governors. Suddenly during the 3-hour shutdown, in the states found enough votes for Biden to catch Trump. 5 for 5. At midnight in Michigan, Trump was ahead by 400,000 votes with 80% already counted. When the next 10% of votes were counted from Wayne County, Detroit, Michigan, Biden suddenly caught Trump with 90% of the votes in. Biden made up the deficit with 10% of the total vote. That means that nearly 100% of the vote from Wayne County went to Biden. That also means that practically all registered voters voted in Wayne County. Does anyone believe any of that is possible? Similar things happened in Madison, Wisconsin, in Raleigh, North Carolina, in Las Vegas, Nevada, and could be happening in Philadelphia by Friday. So why did all those Democratic cities take a pause in reporting their votes? 3. Now, one pundit questioned why a shutdown, except for the ones on YouTube, questioned why a shutdown in counting votes happened in all those states simultaneously. Not one, not even Fox. No one questioned how so many of these newly counted votes in those battleground states went to Biden. Only Newsmax pointed out the coincidence of it happening in those 5 states with Democratic governors with Trump ahead before the pauses. 4. Wisconsin is now reporting 3,239,920 votes cast when there were only 3,129,000 registered voters on record. More people voted than actually registered. When questioned, the Democratic Secretary of State said there are 3.6 million registered voters due to late registrations. Even if there are 3.6 million registered voters, that means 90% of them voted when the average was 55 to 60 across the country. How did almost all votes for Madison go for Biden? Almost 100% of registered voters, not just votes. How'd that happen? Did ballot harvesting happen? How about in those other battleground states? 4. CNN, Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS all refused to call the elections in Texas and Florida until almost all votes were counted. Yet Fox called Arizona for Biden only 30 minutes after the polls closed, with less than 50% of the votes in. Arizona had 1 million outstanding votes in Republican Maricopa County, with Biden ahead in the state by only 1,000 when the state was called. If you think that the media cartel was hard at work demonizing Trump for the last 4 years, 94% negative Trump reports, then it was in full swing last night protecting those Democratic governors in the battleground states. Think about this for a moment. A resist movement by Democrats from the first day Trump was elected, recounts, no peaceful transition of power, impeachment, 3 years of false accusations about Trump colluding with Russia to affect the 2016 election, the Mueller probe, Comey, Clapper, Brennan with the FISA request, and the Steele dossier financed by Hillary Clinton. 22 FBI agents losing their jobs because of spying on Trump, riots, looting, violence, continued polls that proved to be wrong, $400 billion by Soros and Bloomberg for Biden. Wall Street 4-1 in donations to Biden, lack of coverage about the Biden's relationship with China, Russia, Ukraine, Burisma, with his son Hunter, and then COVID, around the clock by the media, with little mention of the record economic and international results by Trump. COVID became the reason for the unsolicited mail out of ballots by Democratic governors. COVID was used to scare voters and distract them from Trump accomplishments. COVID was used as the reason to shut down economies and in Democratic-run states. Let's see what happens with the virus now that Democrats and the media no longer need it. So did those battleground states run by Democrats use ballot harvesting or with any other types of election fraud? How did the vote tallies change so dramatically after the votes were counted or paused in the dead of night? In all 5 Democratic-controlled battleground states, if the media, Democrats, and deep state could be in such collusion against Trump, how could this happen, right? For 4 years, then how hard is it to question collusion in ballot counting last night by those Democratic governors? What gets lost in the Biden election? For starters, any investigation of Biden with Burisma in China, the Barr investigations, the Durham investigations, and the investigations of deep state players, we'd also have DC statehood and the packing of the Supreme Court. Democrats had lots on starters, had lots on the line. So they practiced the end justify the means just as Alinsky instructed. They cheated and the media helped. So who really lost the election? Average working Americans lost. We lost. American integrity lost. No matter who won, America got less great. So there you have it.